I want you to think about your baby's last nap. Did she wake up cooing from that nap, or did she wake up crying right away on a wake up? Hi there, I'm Dr. Sarah Mitchell, a sleep consultant at Helping Babies Sleep. And today we're going to talk about how long should a nap be? And I say should because, there's a lot of expectations that come with that word. And I want baby sleep to be not stressful for you. Okay, so let's talk about your kiddo waking up from their nap. Were they crying or were they cooing and babbling? Ideally, when your child wakes up from a nap, they are cooing and babbling, indicating that they're well rested. When they wake up crying right away, notice the difference between like cooing and babbling and then starting to cry because they're frustrated that no one has come to get them versus waking up and crying right away. The crying right away says something is bothering me. What is that? Is that I'm still tired, but I can't seem to get down into the next sleep cycle? Or has it been, 3 to 4 hours since I ate last and I'm really, really hungry, right? The cues of our baby sleeping are very important to correlate with other things such as time. Time is a big thing. So today we're going to talk about how long should a nap be from newborn stage up until about age 3. So let's dive in. First, let's talk about what is the purpose of a nap. Well, the purpose of a nap is to prevent overstimulation for our young maturing brains. So here's a really cool thing. As your baby is growing, they're growing exponentially at the beginning of their lives, especially in that newborn stage. They will need to nap more, essentially. Their sleep pressure builds. They need to take more naps. As their rate of growth slows down, somewhere around 5 months for the majority of kids, that rate of growth slows, and so does the need for naps. It slows down. So 5 months, most kids have doubled their birth weight by that time. They're starting to slow their rate of growth, and that's when a lot of kids actually transition from 4 naps down to 3 naps. All right, let's talk about nap length to help give you a guideline of what you're looking for, essentially. Now, when we do this, remember, sleep is dynamic. It's never going to be textbook perfect day after day. You might get a few days here and there. And that's why we like teaching you the parenting skills to manage sleep rather than just being able to follow a fixed schedule. A fixed schedule assumes that your little ones will nap the exact same amount every day that is written on that piece of paper. But a flexible schedule gives you the parenting skills to know how to change your day and meet your baby's need when they have shorter naps or longer naps, let's say. Baby sleep is dynamic. Think about your own sleep. Some nights of sleep are better for you than others. If you can think back to before you had kids, because now that you have kids, right, it's much, much more interrupted. But before you had kids, your sleep was dynamic as well. You slept better some nights than others. And why is that, right? Because there's an emotional cognitive component to sleep. If we're distracted by things, we have thoughts that we're thinking about. Those can all impede our sleep, not to mention timing of sleep, the environment of our sleep, and our digestive system. Eating before sleep can sometimes interrupt adults' sleep as well. The research shows that one daytime sleep cycle is roughly 50 minutes. But ask any mom out there, and she often reports that her baby is stuck on 45-minute naps. Well, sleep cycles are also dynamic as well. So they are not perfect. It's not going to be 50 minutes every single time. But anecdotally, I can tell you that a lot of you out there are frustrated with your 45-minute naps. Okay, here's the thing. One 45-minute nap on its own, not really anything to worry about. After a certain age, if you're only getting 45-minute naps, that might be a red flag for something. We're going to talk about that in just a sec. Okay. In the newborn stage, research shows that sleep is highly irregular and that a newborn less than 2 months might nap in 3 to 4 hour stretches around the clock, right? You might get a 20-minute nap in the newborn stage, or you might get a 3 to 4 hour nap in the newborn stage. Newborn sleep is very weakly regulated. So it varies significantly. A child's circadian rhythm doesn't fully mature until 6 months of age. When they say that naps take longer to improve, that's one of the reasons. The other reason is that the sleep drive is not as high during the day compared to at bedtime or the early evening, right? And so that's why when you're working on sleep habits, you work on sleep first at nighttime when the drive to sleep is greater, and then naps kind of improve more slowly than nighttime sleep does. Newborns might have 20-minute naps, but what we're watching for is what I talked about at the beginning, their demeanor when they wake up. Are they cooing, content, kind of hanging out, or are they waking up crying right away? Are they visibly trying to go back to sleep but can't? In those questions, in those situations, you want to be asking, what could be bugging you? What's distracting you that you didn't even make it through a 45-minute cycle? Are you hungry? Do you need to burp? Do you have a wet diaper? What else could it be? What's not allowing them to get through a full cycle? Do we ever wake newborns up from a nap? Well, no, now that you know that newborn sleep is highly irregular, right? They're supposed to sleep in 3 to 4 hour chunks around the clock. I only wake up a newborn if it's been more than 3.5 hours since their last daytime feed. I want to be stacking calories during the day so that I can prepare my baby for a longer stretch of nighttime sleep at the beginning. I really find it very difficult for newborns to sleep too much during the day. Very difficult. Sleep begets sleep. The more well-rested your kiddo is during the daytime, the longer stretches of sleep, the better nighttime sleep that you will have. So I do not wake kiddos up after 2 hours. And my definition of a newborn is less than 2 months. Less than 2 months, 2 months or less, okay? So I do not wake them up at the 2 hour mark because I know that the research says that they might sleep in 3 to 4 hour chunks, and sleep begets sleep. A newborn needs 16 to 20 hours of total sleep. Like, that's a lot, but it's also a huge range. 4 hours is a huge range. What does that look like? It might look like 8 to 10 hours of more consolidated nighttime sleep, if you will, and then maybe 6 to 8 hours of daytime naps, right? It's a lot. So I do not wake kiddos up after 2 hours during the day in the newborn stage. I focus on the feeding more so. I want to make sure they're stacking their calories during the day, getting those feeds in to tank them up for a longer stretch of nighttime sleep. Some of you have questions about day-night reversal. Can a newborn reverse day and night? Okay, here's the thing. Breastfeeding kiddos, your days and your nights are highly regulated by your circadian rhythm, which is related to your melatonin. And newborns do not produce melatonin. However, breastfeeding babies get their melatonin from their mother's milk. So I think it's very difficult to have day-night reversal. If you have day-night reversal, really, what you have is an uncomfortable baby in the middle of the night who's either gassy or fussy. There's something bugging them because usually they're not happy, right? It's not that they're just hanging out content like they can in the day. It's that they're fussy and uncomfortable. And so something is bothering them. So this whole day-night reversal thing is very, very rare. What's more common is your child has either undiagnosed reflux or you have a very strong letdown and they're kind of like drinking out of a fire hose and choking and getting gassy, more so than a true day-night reversal. On that note, research also shows that you can actually use light as early as 1 month of age to help entrain that circadian rhythm by having the curtains closed during nap time and open during awake time. Okay, so newborn nap length summary. 20-minute nap. Is she done sleeping? Does she wake up cooing and happy? Okay. Does she wake up crying? Maybe I'll try and help you back down. What's bugging you? Can I be a troubleshooter here and figure out, do you need to burp? Are you hungry? Is it gas? So I can help you extend that nap. It's incredibly difficult to nap too much in the newborn stage, but we do want to be considerate of getting regular feeds in during the daytime because that will help your nighttime stretches of sleep. 3-month-olds are often going through a little bit of a transition. They're starting to wake up to the world. The 4-month sleep regression often starts around 3.5 months of age. So those naps tend to become shorter. Those big long stretches of 3-hour naps start to slowly recede. And by 4 and 5 months, we're looking for 3 to 4 hours of total daytime napping hours. Now, the biggest challenge here is that people have lost that longer morning nap that they used to have, and they're very concerned about that, right? And that's age appropriate. At 4 months, I've definitely noticed that there's a lot of kiddos who are stuck on 45-minute naps. Okay? And what's the implication of that? Well, if your child's only taking 45-minute naps, it can be a sign that they are not connecting the next sleep cycle. So they don't have this, so they wake up from one sleep cycle and they don't have the skills to roll over into the next sleep cycle. So they look for help, the same thing they had falling asleep, to go into the next sleep cycle. However, I've worked with a lot of 4-month-olds who have great nighttime sleep. I've had 4-month-olds sleeping through the night. I wouldn't say they're the average kid. I want you to know that, okay? But then they will only nap for 45 minutes. And we try to extend them. Sometimes we just don't have luck. And I say, give them time. Just give them time. Don't fight it. They're going to mature naturally. And sure enough, with time, they do. Okay. This goes back to that whole circadian rhythm development thing. It's not fully developed until 6 months of age. So there can be variation from child to child in that 4th and that 5th month. 5th month, though, mid-5th month is where many kids are consolidating nap time, when they're going down from 4 naps down to 3 naps. And by 6 months, there's a much more common pattern from child to child in terms of sleep. Most kids are on 3 naps. maybe a 45-minute to an hour morning nap, hour to an hour and a half second nap, and a third cat nap that is 30 to 40 minutes. At this age, at 6 months, their daytime nap needs, so their rate of growth is slowing now. So their daytime nap needs are also decreasing. So at 5 months and at 4 months, you were looking through 3 to 4 hours of daytime naps total. Now at 6 months, that need is only 2 to 3 hours. 2 to 3 hours. And their awake time between naps are getting longer. It's getting much more manageable. You can get out of the house finally, get some groceries between naps. Okay, it's getting much more manageable. So how long should a nap be at, say, 5, 6 months? So at 5 months, if you're still only having 45-minute naps, I'm starting to get a little bit worried. I'd love to see one nap longer than 45 minutes, okay? At 6 months, I'd love to see, you absolutely need to get down to three naps. You absolutely need one nap that is longer than 45 minutes, ideally longer than an hour. At 7 months, many kids still stay on that 3-nap schedule. And then at 8 and 9 months, that's often when we see kids going down to 2 naps. Now, these naps absolutely need to be longer than 45 minutes, okay? You still need 2 to 3 hours of naps in there, and now you need to consolidate those. So, it can change, it can vary. You might have a 45-minute morning nap, but then you need like an hour and 45 or a 2-hour afternoon nap. More commonly what we see is around an hour, maybe a bit longer, and then an hour, hour and a half as the second nap, around 8 or 9 months. And this stays true even around 10 and 11 months. Now, if you can't get past 45-minute nap, you've got a problem. You've got a problem here, right? This is absolutely a sign of I cannot self-soothe into the next sleep cycle. I'm reliant on a pacifier, someone rocking me, or being fed to sleep to be able to fall asleep. And then when I go through one daytime sleep cycle, I wake up and you're not there anymore. And now I'm very aware of my world and I cry for you and I cannot get down into the next sleep cycle. And that's where sleep teaching comes in. The idea where you want to teach your kiddos self-soothing skills so they can connect sleep cycles and take long age-appropriate naps. And this ultimately helps your nighttime sleep. It's very common that I see people at 8 or 9 months that have like 2 45-minute naps and they wake up frequently at night because they're a little bit overtired. And sleep begets sleep. So the more well-rested your kiddo, the easier it is to fall asleep and then stay asleep, right? It's like a positive feedback loop. Then you have the negative feedback loop. When they're overtired, harder to fall asleep, wake up more at night, wake up the next day, overtired, harder to fall asleep, and it goes on and on in the other direction. You will be on 2 naps once you get down to them. Average is 8, maybe 9 months of age. Once you get down to 2 naps, you'll be on 2 naps until about 14 or 15 months. And then the morning nap disappears and the afternoon nap becomes a beautiful thing, okay? It comes earlier in the day. And at the very beginning, you might even get a 3-hour stretch, which is fantastic. You can get so much done. You might even be able to have a nap yourself at that stage, right? Nice and long. And slowly as this will happen anytime between 15 and 18 months. But slowly as your child ages, that 3-hour nap length decreases. And by the time they're 2, it's probably about a 2-hour nap, okay? And then as they're heading into their 3rd year, most kids drop the nap completely. And then they get more consolidated overnight sleep. Now, if you're on 1 nap and you're not getting 3 hours, you want to be checking your timing. Is it too early or too late? And then you also want to be checking again that sleep skill, right? Is my child relying on something external to help them relax into sleep? So then when they wake up mid-nap, they look for that same thing to help them connect into the next daytime sleep cycle. Ideally, you need an hour and a half minimum when you're on 1 nap. I'd love to see more. I will say after years of doing this, kids who've been co-sleeping and then finally transitioned into a crib, their naps are never 3 hours for whatever reason, right? They often get stuck at an hour and a half, but still they're sleeping independently. And then you just compensate by having more nighttime sleep, I have a gift for you, actually. I have a sleep summary by age that's going to tell you how many naps your kiddo needs by month and roughly how many hours and their total 24 hours of sleep. Because what people have a tendency to do is they separate things. They think naps are not related to nights. She naps great, but we have a nighttime problem. Or we have a nighttime problem, but she naps great. But really, they all need to be looked at together. Looking at your total 24 hours of sleep can often be really helpful as well. Okay? Because a kiddo who sleeps 12 hours at night probably going to be on the low end of nap needs during the day. High nap needs probably going to be on the lower side of nighttime sleep as well. Should we ever wake up a baby from a nap in general? We talked about this in the newborn stage. At this stage, here's my thing. I only wake kids up from a nap if I have proof that letting them sleep interferes with something. And do I even have a schedule? So you wake kids up to preserve a schedule. A lot of people who are at the beginning of their sleep journey don't even really have a schedule. I know I didn't, okay? However, that being said, let's say 2 naps. I find that my kiddo's taking a massive 2-hour morning nap, then they won't nap for the second nap. I'm gonna limit that morning nap so they're ready to sleep for that afternoon nap. Similarly, with kiddos on 1 nap, I really don't want them to be sleeping probably later than about 3:30, 4 o'clock, because that's going to cut in to my nighttime sleep. Because of sleep pressure, my child will then not be able to ready to nap until probably 8, 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. It's too late. It's cutting into their nighttime sleep. They're still going to wake up at like 6:37 because kids who go to bed early wake up early, and kids who go to bed late wake up early. Right? So those are 2 scenarios that I might wake up kiddo up from a nap, but I never really do it at the beginning of my sleep teaching journey. It's usually when my kiddo has had good sleep skills and I'm noticing a pattern now. I usually like to wait and see, right? Is letting them sleep interfering with either their nighttime sleep or the ability to take that second nap, essentially. Okay, in summary, naps are dynamic, right? They're going to change through your child's life, especially though newborn, 3, 4, 5 months, lots of change going on there. When you get on 2 naps, somewhere around 8 or 9 months, that's a nice stage. You will be on 2 naps until closer to 14, 15 months of age. And then on 1 nap until closer to age 3. Essentially. Naps are dynamic, and that is the reason I feel like fixed schedules can set us all up to fail, because they assume that your child will nap exactly what it says on that schedule, and it doesn't always work out like that. And at Helping Babies Sleep and Helping Babies Sleep School, we want you to have the skills to know how to manage it when things don't always go your way, because let's face it, things don't always go your way when you're in charge of a tiny human being. Okay. Long naps are related to your child's ability to self-soothe and connect nap cycles. And one 45-minute nap alone is not a problem, but if your child is over 6 months or 5 months and only taking 45-minute naps, that's a problem. That's a problem, right? Because they're lacking the self-soothing skills to connect the naps and consolidate naps, essentially. I shouldn't be so judgmental. I should say it's a problem if you feel like you're struggling, that your child wakes up and they're not completely rested, and you're getting night wakings as well, right? Because naps and nights are definitely tied together. Okay, wonderful. If you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to hit subscribe to never hit a baby sleep trip. And if you're looking for more help, I'm going to include my sleep summary by age link in the right up below. And also, if you want to get a more personalized response, you can take my simple 6-question sleep quiz. We'll find out your baby's age, how much you're sleeping, how you're getting to sleep, and one simple thing that you can work on tonight to help.